Just waiting for everybody to start filing in. Just doing some stuff real fast. Once I go live, I have to start doing all of my promotion shit. Hopefully everybody is doing good today. It's okay. It's okay, dude. It's okay. Odessa's hard to spell. Shout out to Noodles. What kind of cat is it? Good to see you too again, my man. Welcome back in. Welcome, everybody. We're just waiting for some numbers to get in here. As soon as the numbers get in, we will begin again. I hope everybody is doing fantastic today on this beautiful Monday, April the 29th, 2024. I got to remind myself what day it is because I often forget. We have a decent amount to cover today. We got some stuff to talk about. We had a missile strike. Nothing huge. The weekend was pretty slow in terms of information. That's why I didn't really do a live stream. If there's nothing to really talk about, I'm not gonna, force information on you guys, make you sit here and listen to me talk. That'd be a waste of time. So, welcome in, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's doing good. Let's see. Calibrated. Could you include tags on your map so people can see the progress that takes place? I don't exactly know what you mean by that, by tags. If you let me know, though, I'd be interested. Mostly the map, guys. The map is not. It's just like a frontline map. It's all I use the map for is to show you guys the progress that's being made and why it is important. The map is not so much a. It's not, some hyper accurate. It's not completely geolocated. Like there are some times where I'll put purple stuff that's like reports that I'm not sure about. So the map is not always 100% correct. I'd say it's 95% correct, but really what the map is for is to aid me, visually and explaining what's going on. When I started making the map, before I started making the map, I had I was just making videos and I was just talking about it, and people kind of got lost because there's no visual aids. So, all right, we'll get into it in just a second. I'm just talking to you guys for a little bit. Hey there, History Legends released a video talking about Ukraine doing modern asymmetric guerrilla warfare, like targeting oil storage refinery and Black Sea Fleet. What do you think it'll work? No, I don't think it'll work because I don't think that there's ever going to be enough of it. And by the time it becomes enough, Russia will have done something to interdict that level of economic suppression or whatever guerrilla warfare incursions or whatever. I mean, we saw them try. The thing about History Legends' new video, and I watched it, and I thought it had some good things in it. Some of it was a little like he said that the Tu-22 was shot down by Ukraine, which I don't think at all. It was 500 kilometers from the front. I think they just took credit for that. He also talked about some airfield hits and quoted, the Ukrainian claims for those hits, which is fine. But a lot of it it seemed like it was slightly exaggerated compared to what is actually happening. The belt, like if you look at every single operation that he talked about, the oil refinery attacks, right? They did some damage, but those oil refinery attacks also made the US come out and say, hey, you need to stop doing these attacks because they're not benefiting you and they're not benefiting us. And, that's half of the war, right? US is half of the war. So the oil refinery attacks didn't really do anything. They're not happening frequently enough to keep these places out of commission for very long. Even the biggest one that he talked about, the one that produces 5.7% of Russia's refined energy, gas and oil, that refinery was up and running 2 weeks later at 60% capacity. So even after their most successful strike on the largest oil refinery, it was up and running 2 weeks later at 60% capacity, probably higher now. And a lot of these places are getting repaired frequently and stuff like that. So the oil refinery stuff it has an impact, but it's not doing like irreversible damage, and it's not going to lose Russia the war. I don't think that Ukraine can possibly win right now besides pulling the West in. So the asymmetric warfare that you should be looking for is rampant escalation with the aims of bringing in NATO troops. Okay, let's get into it. This is episode number 51 of Kalibrated Live. Sorry, guys, it took me 5 minutes to get to the intro. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great day. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. I didn't do any videos this weekend. It was kind of slow, so save up some information and then present it all to you guys on Monday, and we're here now. I appreciate everybody who is tuning in on Twitter and on YouTube. If you guys would do me a huge favor right now and go retweet, like the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be the easiest and most helpful way you could support my work. I like doing this. I like coming on here and talking for you guys. So if you would do that, that would be awesome. That would help me so much. And then if you guys have questions that you would like asked during or answered during the live stream, you can always donate with super chat and super thanks and super sticker, and I will answer those live on air. And if I miss your question for some reason, because I'm going back and forth, make sure you bring it up to me in DMs or something like that, and I will make sure that it gets answered. Outside of that, if you guys go to the description on YouTube, you can find my Twitter and Telegram. Follow me there, as well as my Patreon if you wanted to support me through that means. Thank you guys so much. And without further ado, let's go look at a map that I made, huh? All right. Let's get rid of my ugly face, my ugly mug, and we'll get right into it here. So first update, I don't really consider it an update because I don't even have it mapped in this way, but apparently the Ukrainians are claiming that they captured this island, I think, or this one. Remember, all of this is all of the geography in this region, all the river flow has changed because of the dam getting destroyed up here. So up here. So this is all different. These islands look different, but this is all gray zone. None of the island area, estuary area right here, this delta, do I really consider it anybody's. The way where the territory starts is on this road that follows this this estuary or delta or whatever you want to call it. Same on the other side. This is not, I do not consider any of this to be like, it is under Ukrainian control technically, but there's very little anything here to actually like defend. So it's just gray zone. But the Ukrainians made that claim because there's nothing else going good. So they said, hey, we took this. All right. Over to Krasnohorivka, we have a small update. Remember, guys, that the last update we saw was over here. The Russians had pushed in, captured these trench lines. It was a significant advance because these are 8-year fortifications. They started building these in like 2016, I believe. So some pretty significant fortifications. If you zoom in, you can see the earth is just scarred with what looks like World War I entrenchments. They run into the buildings. They run every which way. It is no joke. It is well developed defensively. You can see there's trench fortifications everywhere. So this right here is major. This is very big. Inside of the town, we have geolocation of Russian forces that have entered into the high-rise private sector right here. So the Russians are advancing still and trying to compromise this entire eastern flank of Krasnohorivka. This update is 2 days old now. No map updates have been coming out. It's been very quiet. Lots of fighting going on right now. There's usually a 2-day lull and then a rise that comes back and stuff like that. So thank you so much for your super sticker, man. I really appreciate that. Take care. Let's see. So Krasnohorivka, Russians are making progress. It is likely that the Ukrainians will have to retreat entirely from the industrial zone if they have not already. I think most of the industrial zone is in the gray zone. The Russians are actively in here, so there are probably counterattacks happening, but the Russians continue to move forward in Krasnohorivka. It's a big deal because once Krasnohorivka falls, this entire salient begins to crack, and then that is going to create a bunch of fires that the Ukrainians are going to have to put out while they're still dealing with other things on the other side of the map. So up here in Natalove, the Russians have advanced into the center of the town. The geolocation, I have it, hold on, is right here. The Russians, oh, I didn't add the picture. Oh, well. The Russians have advanced into this area, and it appears that the Ukrainians are going to have to retreat from the settlement in the near future. Same goes for this entire territory. This reservoir right here, this is the main goal of the Russian offensive in this direction right now. Securing the line along this reservoir and just matching up and creating a strong defense line right here so that they can begin pushing along the railroad towards Pokrovsk. Up, as we can see, through these set of settlements. I think that they're going to go through, okay, hold on, Novolesevendrika, and up here to, oh my goodness, that one is rough, guys. All of these towns back here, when you get back behind, for some reason, Avdiivka, their names are atrocious for me to pronounce. So I'm not even going to try. But these two settlements make a little leapfrog right here along the high ground. Remember, this is the high ground. Come over and interdict this road. I think that this should be the major goal of the Russians right now, cutting off supply to the backside of Konstantinivka, forcing alternative routes, and then beginning to work along this road up through these settlements behind the strong defenses of New York and Toretsk, and begin to outflank it. You can see it's already beginning to develop. The salient for this next battle is already beginning to develop. The Russians are going to continue pushing in through Chasiv Yar, and really putting pressure on Konstantinivka, which supplies these two. As soon as pressure starts being applied to Konstantinivka, 6 months from now, whenever this happens, that's when the Russians will begin assaulting hard from the eastern direction, once the supply and manpower issues become apparent in this defensive area. Just like we saw in Krasnohorivka, just like we saw in Avdiivka, same game plan. All right. I come back to my I come back to my chat, and this is what I see. Come on, guys. Come on. All right, here we go. Ukraine takes 20 meters of territory, taking huge casualties. NAFO immediate. Ukraine is winning Russia's weak gas station. Yeah, it's just I'm getting to the point now where I'm just ignoring most people on the internet because I'm starting to figure out that a lot of people are just wildly uneducated and they just talk like they have some sort of knowledge about a topic, and it's just not the case. But yeah, so up here in the north, this is not confirmed, but I'm going to show you Deep State's map here in just a second. The Russians have likely progressed out of Orchitny along this high ground here, which I had talked about. And I had said, basically, I had made a post about it and I had talked to you guys about it. I said, if this area right here falls, the Ukrainians are going to be in desperate times, right? This is going to be the beginning of the flower out of Orchitny once this high ground is taken. And I'm going to actually take us over to the topographical map so you guys can see it. Here. Also, I'm not saying that I'm an expert or I know everything, but I have common sense. And when you talk to people on the internet, they seem to be devoid of what you would call common sense. So that's what I'm talking about. So the Russians have progressed out into this area again along the high ground. Remember, the important high ground starts here, ends just south of the town, just as I had marked out in that square. And once the Russians captured this high ground, you can kind of see what that means for the rest of the region. All of this to the south will fall in short order. The next defensive line will be set up back here along the railroad and along this high ground, probably behind this reservoir. Remember how I talked about the reservoir being important? It basically capitulates this entire side of the river to the Russians if the Russians can meet the reservoir down here and begin working their way up, as well as capturing the high ground up here. High ground is very important, guys, and the Russians love to capture it first. And you can see up to the north into New York, Toretsk. I mean, this is all downhill, right? So the Russians are going to begin expanding out, applying pressure into this area, and it's on the low ground, and the next high ground isn't over until Chasiv Yar. So you can see how the Russians control the high ground down here. They can now control this high ground here, and they will soon control the high ground around Chasiv Yar, after which Konstantinivka, this line of settlements, New York, Toretsk, all of that will begin to fall. Follow the high ground, guys. It's really, really simple. All right. And now I'm going to go over to Deep State. I don't like Deep State map very much. I don't use it as a source or anything. But when they omit to Russian advances, I take notice because that's not usually what they do. So here's, hold on. Here's yesterday. Here's today. Yesterday, today. So a massive expansion of the gray zone all the way out basically into the settlement of Novulesandrivka, and a pretty large expansion out of Orchidny into the fortification area that's right here. There's also a fortification just north of Arkhangelsk right here that the Russians are also probably taking as we speak. Once that falls, this entire pocket closes. And then the Russians can begin just expanding out in every direction that they want. The Ukrainian defenses behind this area get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. So the Russians are making logical moves, at least when it comes to a map. All right. Back over to the old map for the final updates. Oh, and as well, I mean, I think you guys have seen this, but Kermek and Novokalinove have also been captured. So the Russians moved up, which was pretty, I mean, I'm pretty sure that they had been abandoned a while ago because the Russians were on the high ground over here and looking down into the settlement. But now it's been confirmed captured. So this is next. And then once, you guys can tell too, let's do this. You can just see how much the map changes. Actually, let's go here. You can just see, like, from a strategic view, when you're looking at like weak flanks and stuff like that for the Russians, you do this, and then let's change the color to orange. You can really see how this northern flank, I mean, we were back here in February, right? And now we're up, we all of us observing are watching the Russians move up through here. So it's been moving faster, it's accelerating, and then once, I believe that once this area falls and this high ground up here falls, we will see the flower begin to open up or bloom. If you guys don't know, during the Battle of Severodonetsk, where is it? Where is it? I can't, I'm probably looking right at it and I just can't see it. Oh, I'm blind. Oh, it's up north. What am I doing? Severodonetsk, right here. Okay, so during the Battle of Severodonetsk, we saw that, where is Papasnaya? My gosh. I can't see with all this red. It's like I'm blind. I'm having a hard time seeing the names of the towns. Okay, I don't know where Papasnaya is. Am I blind? It's right here, isn't it? Okay, guys, I'm tripping. I do not know where the town is. Anyway, after Papasnaya fell, the Russians were able to quickly open up and flower out from it and push in and take Severodonetsk and then force a retreat out of Lysychansk. Where the hell is it? Oh, I'm tripping, dude. I don't know where it is. Okay. Anyway, that's what happened there. That's where the bloom comes from. That was a derailment to nowhere. Sorry, guys. But anyway, the same thing's going to happen here. We're about to see a bloom out of this area where the Russians will be able to expand in every single direction with much less resistance than previously. All right. Final update comes from the north in the Kharkiv area. The Russians have begun pushing into Klishchiivka, as well as I believe they are pushing down here towards Pishane. And also, it was reported that they had entered Makayivka, which don't know where that is. Right here. It was reported that the Russians had advanced into Makivka. So, all right. Sorry, guys. I got derailed there for a little bit. Yeah, I know it's south of Severodonetsk. I was looking right there. Was I not? Am I tripping? Like I zoomed out and I was looking for every single name. Like this is too far south. Is it too small? Am I just not seeing it because it's too small? I'm sorry. I don't know where the hell this is. Yeah, I'm lost. Oh well. And that's enough of looking at that. Okay, I have some articles to talk about. And has Poland begun deporting Ukrainians yet? They said that they were planning on it. I don't know. I don't know how that works. That's such a bad look. Yeah, I can't find Papa's on a map. I mean, do you guys see it? Because I'm looking. I'm trying to read every single name. I've looked at this map for forever, and I can't. I literally don't see it. Does it have a different name in Ukrainian, maybe? And so it's just appearing different. This is so whack, dude. Oh well. Oh well. Papasnaya. Whatever. All right. Get into some of these articles now. Okay. NATO chief, they came out and made a statement. Jens Stoltenberg came out, made an unannounced visit to Kiev, says arms flows to Ukraine will increase. They've been saying this now for a couple of days, and they really haven't presented anything in terms of aid that looks significant at all. A lot of promises are being made, but I really don't see the results of this. You even have I don't particularly like him, but David D. He is even talking about how there is no aid coming in. There's no planes flying in, and there was like this illusion that, or they were under the illusion that there was all of this equipment just waiting in Poland, just waiting for money. It was never about the money, guys. If the equipment existed, it would have been sent forever ago. They would have just, made it a debt thing. The equipment doesn't exist. That's why they're putting 40 billion of that 60 billion back into the military industrial complex. That's why 6 billion of the aid that we just talked about is coming in 2025, 2026. We are now getting reports that like the F-16 programs from almost all of these countries won't be ready until the end of 2024. I don't know if they even have airports that are going to help operate these F-16s. So there's so much aid has been promised that isn't coming in. I wouldn't count on anything to change dramatically over the coming weeks and months for Ukraine. It is going to be a slog fest for them, and it's going to be hard to get through it. All right. I like to show you guys these articles just because it kind of gives you an insight into what Western pundits are talking about and thinking about, and what normal Americans are reading, and it kind of gives a kind of like a checkup on how the U.S. political class and how the the normal average day everyday American feels about the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and U.S. support for it. So here's NBC News: Ukraine retreats in the east as Russia pushes forward while U.S. ally waits for aid. I don't know who they're waiting for, or while U.S. ally waits for aid. Sorry. I thought it said while the U.S. waits for aid. I said I don't know who they're waiting for. They're the ones supposed to be sending it. Again, here's another omission. Obviously, you have to be careful because these are usually pushing an agenda. So they're saying like the U.S. basically needs to send aid now, more aid now. That's what they're trying to push. But the fact that they're admitting that Ukraine is retreating in the east because of the delay in aid, the manpower issues, everything that's plaguing the Ukrainian armed forces. Um, this this is reaching normal people now. People are now seeing that Ukraine is indeed losing, right? You don't retreat if you're winning. Ukraine's commander in chief, Syrskyi, said on Sunday that his troops had been in retreat from 3 eastern villages as the situation on the front lines had worsened. Quote, worsened. No, the situation has been worse. It's just now coming to a head, and you have to admit that things are bad. You don't have endless meat to throw and stop the Russians. So now you have to uh, figure out a way to present this failure that doesn't make you look incompetent. Douglas M said 50K troops have been trained again. Yeah, well, yeah. How well did that work for them last time? 50K troops. Where we don't see that anywhere. It's cool to just throw out numbers. 50K troops. I don't think they even produced that last time when they had over a year to train, and there was a much Are we still going? My God, dude. Oh man, that was a derailment unlike any I've ever experienced in my entire life. I don't know what just happened. My literally every single USB connection into my computer just turned off. My mic turned off, my camera turned off, my mouse turned off, and my keyboard turned off. So I was just sitting here and I could see you guys in the chat. And but I'm back. Good news about StreamYard is that even if I crash, the stream is on a server, so it doesn't crash. So that's pretty nice. I don't know what it was. It's a brand new computer. It didn't say anything was wrong. It literally the whole thing just stopped working. So I'm back. Sorry, boys. Sorry about that. Yeah, EMP maybe. I don't know. If you guys want to go ahead and get some questions in, go ahead and get some questions in. I got derailed from what I was talking about, so we'll just have a talk. Yeah, bro. I'm actually gonna. I need to go look for Papa's Naya real fast. That's so funny that I can't find it. I covered every single inch of that town as it was happening, and I feel like I'm looking right at it, and I can't find it. What have I done? I'm tripping. I don't know. All right, get some questions in. That happens when you have too many USB devices connected, or if the USB bus is faulty. Yeah, I might have too many connected. I run 9 or 10 or 11. Just so many cords coming out of the back of my computer. My wire management is miserable, boys. All right. Yeah, and here's the thing. So History Legends in his video said that it was something he was talking about the promised vehicles, the vehicles that have been promised to be sent to Ukraine. Guys, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The West has made a lot of promises. There was also supposed to be 96 F-16s going to the country. They can't even train the pilots. So I don't know what that, I mean, they might get 12 this year, maybe 12. And it's just that's the thing you have to understand is that these are false promises. I've literally titled my videos false promises before. Oh, empty promises. That's the title of this video for that exact reason, right? Is because they will promise this equipment, they will make a big deal of it, and then it kind of gets reduced. Like, what was it? The French APCs that History Legends was talking about, where they had promised 300 and then it got reduced to 200 and then it got reduced to 100 because they just can't produce them. So you can make all the promises you want. You can talk about revitalizing your military industrial complex. Until I see it happen, I'm not buying it. Okay. Do I think vehicles are going to get delivered to Ukraine? Yes, obviously. They have to keep this fight going. Is it going to be anything to replace what they're losing or replace what they have lost? Absolutely not. So you can't search the name. You can't search the name? Oh, Papa's not. I can, but I'm on stream. I'm not going to do that right now. What did you train today? I did chest and triceps. I have chest today too. I haven't gone yet though. I'll be going in a little bit. I got the feel that HL clip. Wait, what? I got the feeling that History Legends clickbaited us a bit. I mean, it's YouTube. You have to clickbait. You have to. That's how you're successful. So, I mean, yeah, I'd say every single thing he posts is a little bit clickbaity, but that's because that's the way it goes. But I think that he kind of took a weird position on some of the events and was kind of built it all together to be a lot more it looked a lot more impressive than what the entirety of what Ukraine's asymmetric warfare has actually been. Like the Belgorod operation failure, the refinery operation, you could call it I guess a success, even though the West didn't really like it and said that you needed to stop, and the fact that Ukraine doesn't have enough means to continuously keep these refineries out of commission all the time, that's an issue. I mean, you're talking about like fires that are being started by some people, like in that helicopter, that KH-29 or 32 or whatever it was, the civilian firefighting helicopter. Um, it's that sort of stuff. It's like it doesn't. It's not going to change the war. And all of those things he was saying were like built together. And he's like, ATACMs are coming for the Black Sea Fleet, this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, I don't really understand how anybody could think that. I'm not saying that he thinks this. He just made the video presenting the information, but I don't understand how anybody could think that the Ukrainians are going to be successful converting from asymmetric warfare to, or converting from traditional warfare on the battlefield to asymmetric now that they can't fight that traditional war. How anybody thinks that's going to benefit them, because it's just going to become uglier. Their support is going to become more distanced from them because you can't be around a unhinged ally like that you're responsible for, as well as Ukraine just doesn't have the means. They don't. It's not Afghanistan. You're not dealing with the jungles of Vietnam. This isn't Laos. This isn't the Congo. This guerrilla warfare stuff doesn't really work on the fields in the fields of Kansas, right? It's hard. You don't have any natural concealment. The only place you can hide is in houses, so that's where they watch is houses. Uh, you know, uh, Population centers is where this guerrilla activity would only be able to take place. I guess you could say cities and stuff, but Russia has a pretty strong internal security network, and I mean, at least from the outside, it appears that they do a decent job of intercepting what they need to and keeping their citizens safe for the most part. Um, I just don't see how Ukraine really succeeds with that plan going forward. I mean, they're going to do slight damage and stay in the headlines maybe, but outside of that, it's not going to win them the war. They're not going to win the war that way. What happens when Zelensky is no longer the official president, May 25th? Can Zelensky firmly or finally replace him? Also at West's wishes. Yeah, I don't think Zelensky's going to get removed. I think he's there until the end now. I think that that's their guy. I think that the whole Zelensky thing came to a head and he's been removed and dismissed, and they're trying to get him out of the country. I don't know, man. I think we're about to see everything kind of come to a head. What a bad time for Zelensky's presidency to end. Right as the Russian offensive should be starting. Right, the end of May that's like the time when, if there is going to be a Russian offensive, we will likely see it at the end of May. The last 2 weeks of May is when it should start. Remember, the Ukrainian offensive was delayed until the summer by 3 weeks. It should have started in May. Same goes for the Russians. If you're going to see a offensive, it should come right when Zelensky is supposed to not be president anymore, which is not going to be a good thing, especially if it's successful. That's going to be rough. Scott, can't Russia just cordon off Kharkov instead of fight inside the city? Yeah, I mean, technically they could. But again, it's just big operations like that cost lives. Do you want to sacrifice an unnecessary amount of men when you can continue taking the not great? I mean, it's not like fantastic loss ratio that the Russians are dealing with now, but it's sustainable, and it's not horrific. It's not. They're not. They don't. They're not. They're in no rush, is what I'm saying. And no matter how many times the Ukrainian information space will try to make you guys think that the Russians are in some sort of rush, oh, they have to get something done by May 9th, by Victory Day, or whatever. That's just crap. Just don't listen to any of that. That has not been Russian modus operandi this entire conflict. So don't expect anything like that to start now. Don't expect quick retaliations. Don't expect large aero offensives. What would you say Russia would have done to cause Zelensky to reach his limit and give up? It has nothing to do with what the Russians do. What Russia does doesn't matter. It's when the West stops giving aid. That's when it'll stop. As soon as there's no more money to be made, that's when it'll end. It's very clear. The only way that the Ukrainian regime is surviving right now is through Western support, because their own people don't like them anymore. So they're a propped up puppet government. That's all they are. Yeah, take over the cocaine trade. There you go. Ukraine claims they maintain a 10 to 12 kill ratio. So Zelensky claimed 31,000 KIA and the AFU published this. I mean, it's up to you guys to decide. Do you think that the Russians have lost 450,000 people? I made a post on Twitter. I can show you guys how kind of ridiculous that sort of claim is. Let me see if I can find it real fast. To the same news outlet, 2 days apart. Did I post it on Telegram? Might have posted it on Telegram. Oh well. Basically, it said it was February, and it was 350,000 Russian casualties, and then 3 months later, in late April, they say 450,000 Russian casualties. They're just making up numbers, guys. They're just making up numbers. If you want to know what the real number is, it's probably Mediazona plus 20,000. I would say that's probably the most accurate estimate you're going to get of Russian KIA. Ukrainian KIAs, I have no idea. I think it's somewhere up around 250,000 now. So that's where it seems to be at least headed in that ballpark. Any thoughts on the rumors of French troops in Odessa? Nope, you'll know about it. If it happens, you'll know about it. The Russians won't hide that intel. They're not going to pussyfoot around with that sort of stuff. They'll come right out and say. So no, I don't listen to any rumors about this stuff, guys. Don't buy into any of this. If it happens, it will be very public, and you will know about it right away. No, this is not. There are advisors being moved into the country, but not like French troops. They're all people that are, for the most part, likely out of uniform. There are over 350 Ukrainian graves. Hey, if you want to send me that information where you counted all those graves and you can provide that, I would love to see it. I highly doubt that there are 350,000 filled Ukrainian graves. That's a lot of people. That's a ton of people. That's 100,000 more than my estimate. So, I mean, if that's happening, good God, Ukraine is in a much worse position than I thought. Because if you're saying 350,000 people are dead, that means that 750,000 are wounded. And I don't think that metric lines up at all. 500,000 KIA in Ukraine? No. That's too many people, guys. There would be no Ukrainian army left. I'm sorry, guys. If those numbers were correct, there would be no Ukrainian army left. What signs of a Russian offensive will we see? They are launching an offensive and not just probing attacks. You might see a big buildup. Usually the Russians kind of do a slow start offensive, so they'll start the offensive and then they'll push in reinforcements behind it instead of like a massive buildup and a breakthrough. So you know, you might see it, you might not see it coming. It's hard to know. The Russians do a pretty good job with OPSEC and maintaining secrecy behind the lines. So, you know, we'll see. I think that the Russian offensive is kind of already underway, and they're just looking for that weak spot, and then as soon as it presents itself, they're going to attack. How much independence does Ukraine still have? Plenty. They have a lot of free agency in terms of what they choose to do. The U.S. is weird. We have to maintain this illusion that we're actually like supporting a free democratic society or something like that. So we can't go in and openly tell them what they need to do and what they can and cannot strike and this, that, or the other. We're very gray in our statements about what Ukraine can and can't do. And I think Ukraine does a lot of things that the U.S. doesn't like, but we just put up with it because it's easier to give them the reins and then have plausible deniability when they do something stupid than telling them no, because that's a bad look. Why would they be asking for 500,000 conscripts? Okay, so this is a great question. So, first off, if you have like my estimate, if you have 250,000 casualty killed in action, let's say 200,000. Let's just give it a nice round number, 200,000. If you have 200,000 casualties, KIA, you know how many men are wounded and will not return to service? It's usually, the ratio is usually 4-1 or 5-1 KIA to wounded. So you're talking about probably 400,000 to 600,000 men that have been wounded. Some of those are double wounds. A lot of those are light shrapnel, not anything that's going to take you off the battlefield. And then I would say probably 100,000 of those are serious career-ending injuries. So lose a leg, lose an arm, something like that. So the reason why you need 500,000 troops is because you've lost. I mean, I don't know what their numbers are right now, but I would say they've probably lost damn near 500,000 troops, just not all in graves, right? And it's not just the fact that they need 500,000 men, it's that they need 500,000 men a year from now, right? Not saying that these guys are going to last a year, but when you do a mobilization, the idea behind the mobilization is you mobilize men, they get trained in combat activities for 3 to 6 months, you begin staging them, and then 9 months to a year after their mobilization, they'll begin to see combat. That's what is what should happen if you're trying to make men that are adequate fighters. What's probably going to happen is a lot of these men are just going to be thrown in and plug holes and stuff, and it's going to be worse for the casualties. But 500,000 is a optimistic number that you throw out with the hopes that you can get 200,000 to 300,000 men through mobilization. 500,000 is a pipe dream for Ukrainians. Everybody's talking about it. So that's aiming high, but expecting low sort of deal. Yeah. But it's not just because they've lost 500. I mean, they haven't had 500,000 people die. What do you think about the small diameter bomb? The U.S.'s small diameter bomb turning out to be completely useless in Ukraine. I think it's really hard with all the GPS jamming that the Russians do. It makes a lot of these weapon systems have had a very, very difficult time. The Switchblade had an incredibly difficult time. This has an incredibly difficult time. And it just kind of goes to show that the F-16 the idea of the F-16 is just, it just doesn't even make any sense, because the weapons that you attach to the F-16 don't even work unless you're just talking about missiles. But yeah, how could Ukraine drones reach 500 to 600 kilometers deep inside Russian territories? Are they so precise, and stealth radars? So there's a couple different things going on. Number one, you're talking about at least with some of those pedestrian planes, very low flying pedestrian planes. You don't usually want to shoot those down. It's actually a really bad thing for Ukraine to do, because it means that any small civilian plane now anywhere near Russian territory is going to be looked at as potentially a drone that's coming in to do some damage. But the reason they can reach so deep inside, first off, they have the range, the gas ability, the range to reach. But on top of that, they also have Western guidance, right? You have Western satellites that are basically guiding these things into their targets. It's not hard to hit an oil refinery. An oil refinery is huge. That's like is it a CEP? I think CEP of like 100 meters. So you're just trying to hit a football field basically with a drone. Civilian planes, pedestrian planes. Sorry, guys. Sometimes my brain just doesn't click right. Civilian planes, small civilian planes, pedestrian planes. I was thinking civilian, like somebody But yeah, it's just somebody walking. It doesn't even make sense. Oh well. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Civilian, pedestrian, it's all good. All right, if you guys have a few more questions, get them in, and then I'll wrap it up here. Sorry for the little dropout. It wouldn't be a calibrated stream if I didn't mute my mic or something happened. No, I didn't mean passenger planes. I meant civilian, small civilian airplanes that are like private planes. Stuff that takes off and doesn't always have the best communication with air traffic control because it might be Ivan out dicking around in his Cessna, or it might be, Ukraine sending a drone packed with C4 at your oil refinery. It makes things difficult. Yeah, single engine personal planes. All right. All right, guys. I think that's where I'm going to leave it off. If you guys wouldn't mind just doing the classic like and subscribe, that does so much for me. Just gets me out and gets more eyes on me. If you guys have ideas for Patreon content, DM me. Just shoot me an idea. I'm looking for some content to put on Patreon to make it that more worth it for you guys. I really don't know what to do over there. So if you have any ideas, just shoot them out. And other than that, take care and have a great rest of your week. I will be on here tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is my normal time now. That is 12 a.m. for me. So make sure you guys, we got to get me a what kind of mic? I just like this one. I like to hold it too. I don't have to, but I like to. I like to hold it and talk into it like this. Like I'm an old musician. That's how I like to do that. All right. Take care, guys. Have a good day.